So welcome everyone. Welcome to Label Fest for Recovery. I'm very happy to be joined here with Lisa Walker from USARA. Thank you very much for joining and chatting to me about recovery.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Brian. I appreciate it.
Cool. So can you tell the viewers anything about yourself and why you're interested to take part in this?
Yes, absolutely. So my name is Lisa Walker. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, and I work here at a local nonprofit in Salt Lake City called Utah Support Advocates for Recovery Awareness. I am a person in long-term recovery, and I am passionate about being loud about my recovery so I can help other people know that it is here and possible, and that people can connect and to get help.
I love the term being loud about your recovery.
Yeah.
I've never heard that before, but I am certainly loud about my recovery as well.
Yeah.
Um, I certainly wear it on my sleeve and on my t-shirts and on my hats and everything. So, but welcome. So, can you tell me how your attitude to recovery has changed over the years?
Sure. I think that in the beginning, I was just so afraid and steadfast, and so I found my people to look up to, and I just sort of did whatever that they were doing. And then through that, I was able to really build a foundation for myself in my own life, and that was in being a mom and a wife and becoming a student and going to school. And so now I definitely have a broader perception of what is available for people, women, mothers like me when I was in the position that I was in when I was seeking help. And it's just nice to know that there are just so many broad resources for people to tap in and to get help. And I now know that there's this huge community of recovery here in Salt Lake City, just waiting to reach out and to help people. And I don't know that people always know that. So it's changed in the fact that I know that I wasn't a bad person, I just got lost along the way on my journey. And it actually is an asset in my life now that was a path that I had taken in my 20s. So.
And I myself, I'm a person in long-term recovery as well. And when I started my journey back in the days, yes, there were just the standard support groups that you would automatically think of to go. But I'm sure back then there was a wealth and breadth of other options, but we just didn't know about it. We
Right.
just didn't know about the open doors that were there for us. So it seemed a lot more difficult back in then. So I personally would love it in this day and age when everyone can be so open. You can chat on social media, you can just ask for help, and people are going to come running, and there's always someone with an outstretched hand to show you the way. So
Truly. So many people, yeah, from all walks of life. Yeah.
definitely. And on that standpoint, do you have a success story about recovery, either personal or peripheral, or someone that you've maybe helped along the way, or watched from afar, or just someone that has made giant leaps?
Sure. I mean, I think that I have so many success stories, and I think that my success has largely been due to helping others. And so I think I have seen so many women and that were younger than me. I've seen them kind of go back to school and get an education, and that they're now, getting married and starting families, and they're getting to start like sober families, which I think is amazing. And so I just continue to see that, and I think that that's amazing. I think that that's where the change and like that generational change like can happen. And so,
Wonderful.
you know,
Yeah, and it's great to be able to hear about the family structure changing,
mhm,
so that you can have good role models. And that brings me on to my next question. So one of the films that we're playing is about uh, it's called Girls Who Drink, and
mm,
it's about mismanagement of your younger days. When it's all about partying and how that can get out of control,
mhm,
and it can sort of send you down the wrong path. So, do you have any advice, that you could maybe give
mm.
to any of the young viewers that are maybe struggling or have an interest to see what maybe their next step would be?
Oh man. Yeah. I mean, I think that I just wish I would have known that there was other options. I guess what I would want them to know is that there isn't anything that we've done that can't be forgiven. And I think that people need to know that like shame really has been the biggest driving factor in me not getting help until I did. So I think I would say to them is just find other people to talk to, and I think that, as parents, we should talk to our kids about any and everything. And, maybe not the style that I was grown up in, which was like, just say no. And
Yeah,
so I think that talking about it is really the biggest thing.
for sure. And there are plenty of resources that are out there. You can even just go online, do a Google search or a Bing search if you're not into Google, and you
Yeah.
always find, talking points of, because it is difficult to see a change in your child,
Hmm.
from the little cherub that you raised, and then you
Hmm.
can have sort of rose tinted glasses, thinking, oh, not my child. I'll believe what they're saying, but it's always good just to have those conversations from a very early age.
Hmm.
Like my son is 10 years old, and
Hmm.
I've been talking to him about addiction and depression and mental health as a whole since he was born. One, so that he could understand better how to deal with a father, with mental health issues, and that
Hmm.
it's not a scary thing. And then also how he can maybe put steps into his own life so that he can maybe deal with it better if he does end up having to deal with it
Yeah.
as he grows up. So on
Yeah.
that standpoint, can you tell me about any community resources that are available that people can reach out to?
Yeah, absolutely. I think first of all, reaching out to us here at USARA, we hold several different support groups so that you do have a variety of people to meet and communities to get engaged in. So definitely reaching out to us. I think it can often depend, the difference between help or not is whether people are funded or if they have insurance or if they have Medicaid or private insurance. So I think always reaching out to your insurance to see what is available. People kind of miss that step, but when people come, call here, that's definitely something that we can help them with. For me, it's just in the beginning, there was no bad meeting, right? And we have a plethora of meetings here and available in our valley. I think calling USARA is a great place to start, but online there are so many Facebook groups, so I think that that's another place to go. And then just our local authority here or Valley Behavioral Health. I think that there's resources to reach out to and people that want to, if that doesn't work, they can at least send you to the next one, or even as something as simple as calling 211. If you get the right person, you can get a lot of resources through that as well. So.
Well, definitely. And everything's there. Everything's there at the touch of a button. You don't even
Yeah.
have to talk to people on the phone. You can text.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
it's like technology is really catching up and really helping us that way. Because I know back in my day, there was no way that I was going to talk to somebody on the phone.
Right.
I
Yeah.
still hardly talk to anyone on the phone now, but it's great to
Yeah.
be able to just text people.
It so
Um,
it so is like I sought out recovery. I mean, I went to the ER and it was like by happenstance that they told me about the VOA detox. And then that was my start to recovery. It shouldn't be that
yeah,
difficult. So,
no,
yeah.
for sure. And as I say, hopefully labeled will become null and void in the future because really we exist to end the stigma
Hmm.
in recovery and mental health, and we are making leaps and bounds,
Yeah.
every day, every week. People are being open about it and there is no shame,
Yeah.
and hopefully that'll help people find the right path for them. So
Yeah.
on that standpoint, if there was just one thing that you could say to somebody that was maybe struggling, what would that be?
That there's hope, that they matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Mhm.
that is the truth,
Yeah.
100% truth. And as I say, we just need to break down that barrier, and to be able to ask, the two hardest questions in the world is, I don't know and I need help.
Right.
And if
Yeah.
you can just ask those questions, there will always be an answer on the
Yeah.
end. So,
Yeah. Things start to open up for sure. Yeah. So.
well, thank you very much for joining us. And again, all the help that you could ever dream of is at USARA. And
We're going to
so,
at least connect you to a resource.
indeed, cool.
I should
Well,
say that we provide peer support here. And what I find is that the peers, the people that are here in earlier on recovery, they're the ones that have the pulse on everything that's new happening and whether that's a new sober living or some new funding that's become available. And I think that that's just such a beautiful thing about peer support. So,
yeah, for sure. It's all about the community. And if
yeah.
you can find your own group, it's It's back to the old dinosaur thing. You know, if you stay in the middle of the group, they can't pick you
Yeah,
off, and that's what it's all about. So, but
sure.
again, thank you very much for joining us, and back to the films. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Brian.